Meraki FM 107.5.
So welcome back to CCFM 107.5. We were changing lives for good. But I've got my favorite realtor in the studio with me today. Today we're just going to hang out. We're not going to talk much about all of the real estate issues and questions you may have. We may have a bit of a chance, but it's all about her today. Nogals. Yeah. We're just going to be talking about Common, and we're going to be talking about Meraki, and we're going to be talking about the roadshow. So last year, she said she's leveling up. She said we're going to do more things, and now she wants to meet you. And so that is what it's going to be all about from the 2nd of March for about two or three Saturdays. That's where she's going to be at to meet the community and loads of things to discuss. But let's quickly bring Carmen in. Let me say hello to her. She's looking good.
Hi, good afternoon, listeners. Good afternoon, Marco. Thank you.
Yeah, we in the same WhatsApp group. We're off the sugar, and I'm actually getting quite a few messages. I see on my screen here as well. People say, Marco, you're motivating many. I'm a silent follower of your health journey, and great encouragement that I can do it too. And then I get to see Carmen, and I say, wow, 2 weeks ago I saw a loss, and now it's every second week she's here, by the way. And then I just see the progress there as well. En ek sê vir julle die wangetjies is rooi jongens. Like baie die helft like goed. But welcome to you.
Thank you, Marco.
It's good to have you on board, and of course, it's been a while now that you're part of the furniture, and so you've become well known to people. I think I've not heard of Meraki before.
Okay.
And now Meraki, I see Meraki everywhere, and I see the brand and I recognize it instantly as well. And I think it just speaks volumes of this type of platform, and it speaks volumes of you. And so that brings me to this question in terms of your collaboration, in terms of your partnership, if you was call it that. Just how's that been for you in terms of your brand Meraki and for you personally?
It's definitely been a blessing, Marco. Like you said, with a new brand, we have to work a little bit harder than the rest of the brands that are already established, that are global, that are national, that are well known. And when I initially connected with CCFM, what I liked is because if you look online, there are a lot of influencers, there are a lot of sort of trains you can hop onto and get yourself known out there. Some influencers have big followings, and what I liked about the connection with CCFM is the alignment of our values and changing lives for good. And that is really just coming on board with that and being part of that vision. It has really been good for me. And, sometimes you think, are people actually listening to me? So I've noticed that even though we may not get as many chats or messages coming through during the show, when I meet people, then, or even prospective tenants that come view properties, they will tell my agents, we've heard your principal on CCFM. Or if I bump into people at events or even in the mall or whatever, then they would say, don't stop, keep, like they're finding value in what we are sharing, and people are giving feedback that it's definitely things that they need to hear, things that they don't know. So yeah, I think it's been great.
But that's the beauty of radio. You just don't know who's tuned in. I often get that, and people will tell me the minute details of stuff I may have said many, many moons ago, because they've listened.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of having an audience like ours. And we've got a varied audience, and love them to bits. And let's talk about this roadshow. So you've been bragging about it. When we first spoke about it, you were very excited, and I'm pretty sure you're still very excited about it. But why this roadshow?
Yes, so definitely very excited. I just felt that, we've got our 15 to 20 minutes. We're meeting every week. But I found that number one, there is perhaps just not enough time in one slot to get too in depth with one particular subject. And then also found out or come to realize from the feedback that I did get from a lot of the listeners, what the need is out there to actually hear more of a particular subject. And we did think, okay, let's host it here at CCFM's hall, and afterwards we thought, no man, why must the listeners come to us? Let's us go out into the communities. So we really, it's about getting out there, getting into the communities and bringing that education, bringing that information and bringing it straight into the communities. And that is really what the heart is around this, Marco, so that we can spend a little bit more time on a particular subject and that we can really get into more detail with it. And if the listeners need to take it a bit further and the roadshow is not going to have enough time, there will be service providers on site that they'll be able to set consultations with.
So I just want to say hello to this lady, and I don't know why she says also the lovely Muhsina. I don't see Muhsina here. Do you see her here?
I don't see her also, but I think she's just covering her tracks after the last time, Marco.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, hi, Eleanor Stoffberg of Meraki Property Solutions.
Okay, clever lady, covering her bases there. Okay, so you spoke about wanting to go more in depth and wanting to meet the listeners, of course. But now let's talk about what inspired you to choose the types of topics that you're going to be talking about, and let us in about what those topics are.
So we find ourselves at the moment find ourselves operating in the lower to middle income markets, right? And we found that with deals that we are dealing with, and even with feedback I've been getting from the shows, there's been a great need around deceased estates, right? We find that often in families there perhaps has not been a will that has left. We find also in families perhaps one of the spouses is deceased and the other spouse thinks that automatically the other half belongs to that spouse because they were married in community of property. We are finding that people that bought together and then they separate, they're struggling with how to handle the property that they bought jointly. So these are all questions that have come up from the listeners, and we're also experiencing it when meeting with people in our communities. So the first topic is legacy matters, and it's all about mastering estate planning. So we will have our favorite attorney at the roadshow, where she will be speaking to those who are attending. She will be explaining the process from the first point of getting that death certificate right up until getting a letter of executorship, which is important in the deceased estate process. She will also be talking about half share transfers and what happens in that case, and then also speaking to spouses on how to protect each other in situations where even if they're drafting the will, making sure that the wording is correct, and then also we will have a Trinity Financial Services on board. They are a financial service provider, and they will be sharing on how we can actually prepare ourselves for those estate costs and other, again, costs that people are not aware of, that the beneficiaries or the family members end up having the burden of paying once they are deceased. So sometimes it affects the assets that they have, because now the net value of their assets is affected by the costs of winding up the estate, etc. So how do they plan that to make sure that their family is secure once they are no longer around?